baby.
You can always cut.
I know.
Remember, you good?
Why are you standing up though? You make me nervous.
Oh, I'm sorry, baby. Let me come over here then. You good?
You're just standing behind the camera.
We are live.
I can't believe I'm doing this. Okay. Let's just talk about how this video almost didn't get made. Okay, because the devil was trying to attack, but we not gonna let him win, are we, babe?
No.
No, we're not. See, Santi said no. My labor and delivery story. So, just to give a little like background, my name is Mariah. I'm from Houston, Texas. I'm first time mom. I have a baby girl. Her name is Santi. I wouldn't introduce y'all to dad, well, her dad, but
eventually.
he does. Yeah, he doesn't have his hair cut, so he feels away. But let's get down to this labor and delivery story, because there's a lot of people that wanted to know what's the best way to share it, which is through my first YouTube video, which I can't believe it. And whoever thought it would be, because my baby girl. And so this is a message for you if you've been wanting to start something, like get on that, because I've been saying I want to do a YouTube for years. Like people that are great now on YouTube, like I've been following them for years. I've wanted to start a YouTube myself, but just, you know, procrastination, things like what happened today, getting defeated. Like I literally had an episode, like I had to just kind of cry it out, because I could just see like how things get in the way and you can already start making excuses, especially once you have a little one to look after. But we have dreams to follow, stories to be shared, so we're here. So if you always want to start something, do it. This is me like talking to you, telling you to start it. Day one, we went to the hospital 3 times.
Oh, bro.
And the third time was the charm. So the first time we went because I had my bloody show, which I will tell y'all what a bloody show is right here. You can do that, right, babe? Yeah, I had my bloody show, and so I called them because I really wasn't trying to. I really wanted to labor mostly at home in the comfort within my home, but I also wanted to not push it, being that this was my first time having a child. But when I called and I told them I had my bloody show, oh, Santi's right here, by the way. When I called, the nurses told me to come, so I came because I'm like, oh, okay, maybe time. So we get there, it wasn't time. My cervix was still closed. And fast forward, the nurses were saying that I had like a cervix that was like the talk of the town because it was so different. Like it was hard to tell when if I was dilated this far or if I wasn't. It's crazy. So I wasn't dilated enough. After hours of sitting there, being in the room, having them check me, they sent us home. So that was day one. Can y'all see? Y'all see her a little bit. I know we're not hungry again. Day two, we went back because of the contractions started coming on pretty like heavy. It wasn't too crazy, but I was like, ooh, because at times they seemed close. Like at 1 minute they were 10 minutes apart, 20, but then it began to be like 5 minutes apart. And that's what they said, whenever they become 5 minutes apart, then to call and to come up there. So the only reason why this time, the contractions weren't really bad. And let's talk about contractions. Now every woman's story is different. Every woman has a different experience when she has a child, but I want to say this because people give their unsolicited advice, you know, when you're having a kid, and you know, some of them, most times people mean well, but other times it's like, come on now. And a lot of people always told me that contractions, oh, they're indescribable, it's a pain you can't describe. Y'all, for me, this is me personally, they just felt like really bad cramps. Like they felt like really bad cramps. The only difference is that your stomach literally like your tummy tightens up and it feels like a rock until it kind of just slowly goes away, and it'll last like about a minute or less, and then the next one will come on, you know, whenever. But that's how they felt to me. And I feel like a lot of people just be saying stuff sometimes. But then everybody has a different pain tolerance, which I do understand that. But I just want to warn some people out there, you know, don't expect it to be that bad. Like a lot of people, you know. So anyway, we got there, day 2, they sent us home again. They're saying that they're not as strong, and they tried to like explain to me what to do. I already know what to do. I knew y'all told me to come in here when they're 5 minutes apart. They're 5 minutes apart and they feel kind of strong, but I'm handling them. So they send us home, and these are the same, like this is in a row. So it's Wednesday, it's Thursday, and then it's Friday when it goes down. So Friday, early morning Friday. So at 3:52, I got a mean contraction. And then I was like, okay. Then I ended up getting another one at 3:54. And I was like, all right. I turned to my boyfriend and I was like, if another one comes before 4:02 or before 4 o'clock, then it's time to go. And I ended up getting 2 more contractions before like 4:01, and it was on. We already had our bags packed, because that's another story. We were expecting our baby to come at July 26th, and no one ever gave me the updated date from having the ultrasounds. So really my baby wasn't due until August 14th. So can you imagine thinking that your due date is July 26th, only to find out through HR that no, your doctor said you're not due until August 14th.
August 14th.
That we're gonna save that for another story, another time. So we had been ready. So it was on. So we get there at 4 something. They go ahead and they admit me, and then, well, no, they into the triage, and then after everybody came in, people checking your cervix, all in your vagina. I finally started moving along. Like I became 4 centimeters, and they were like, okay, you're ready, it's time to be admitted, which you're waiting on, because we were gonna stay, because I was like, at this point I know this baby is coming, so I'd rather be where I'm supposed to be, and be ready to have this baby. I called my mom, told her to come. She was excited, because mind you, the previous day she was outside waiting for 4 hours just for them to turn us around. We get admitted. This is where it gets real. Okay, so I'm breathing through the contractions. I'm fine. And they're like, okay, so now we're gonna give you the Pitocin. Once that Pitocin kicked in, the contractions kept coming like bam, bam, bam. Like they were just back to back. And I think I made it to about 6 or 7 centimeters where I was like, nope, we're gonna have to get that epidural.
I think you made it further than a lot of people would have, honestly.
Yeah, and even the nurse was saying that I was doing a pretty good job, like that I could have gone through with being natural, but if it was really the Pitocin, like once that Pitocin kicks in, it's a whole other beast. They got the doctor in, and let's talk about the epidural. See, I heard people say getting an epidural is a situation, and it is not. Like, you just gotta make sure you're not moving. That probably will be the hard part if you have a contraction coming on and then you're trying to get the epidural at the same time. But it's really about breathing and like kind of expecting that pain as it comes, because you feel it as it come in. It's not like a sharp, like it's just like a rush. And if you expect that pain and breathe through it, I'm not saying you'll be perfect, but you'll be able to just gotta breathe and not kind of freak out. Just kind of be present and expect the pain coming on. They just have you lean over to the side of the bed and you know, give you the epidural, and once the epidural hit, we like that. We like that. I'm not gonna lie. I don't regret getting an epidural. Like if anything I've learned, because I've had some good mamas around me, is you do what's best for yourself. Do not worry about, do not stress. I wanted to go natural, but that's not how it happened, and I'm okay. My baby's healthy, and I had a healthy pregnancy the whole way. So I love the epidural. I probably loved it a little bit too much because I was pressing the button even when it wasn't green. Because when it's green, you're able to press it and the medicine goes in. And my mom and my baby said I was kind of tripping out, but it's all right. I couldn't feel anything because those nurses are in and out. They're keep going inside of you, girl. They keep going inside of you, checking your cervix. So once that hit, like, you can't feel a thing. Baby, they had to break my water, but then once they broke my water, it kind of lost that buoyancy for baby to not be pressing up against the cord. And so she started to press up against the cord, which they were worried about. So then they had to put fluid back inside of me to create that buoyancy so she wouldn't be leaning against the cord. All right, so that was one situation. After that, they gave me Benadryl because my cervix started to get swollen. Yeah, it started to swell. But I mean, I had so many people in and out of it trying to figure out, oh, she seems like 7. Oh, she seems like 8. Like, yeah, it was, yeah. Because I had the weirdest cervix ever. Because, like, on one side, it would seem that, like, they really had to, like, feel around to really see what I was. So I don't know if it was just in an awkward position. They give me Benadryl, right? So keep this in mind. I had pain medication before. They give me Benadryl to try to, like, bring the swelling down for my cervix. And I have the Pitocin, which they're trying to drop now, and then I have the epidural. So keep that all in mind. So as the hours pass, the nurses get worried because I've heard this. Luckily, I've done a lot of research throughout my pregnancy. My baby heart is dropping, right? We're on drugs. We are drugged up. I'm sure my baby's heart is going up and down, because then I would move in certain positions and she would just be right back to normal. And I've had, like I said, I've had a healthy pregnancy the whole way. And the reason why I'm explaining this is because we get to a point to where nurses are coming in, the doctor come in, and they tell me that they're wanting me to get a what? A C-section. And I'm not, and I wasn't having it. They said, Now, don't get me wrong. There are instances where you do need a C-section. There are emergency situations where you do need a C-section. But see, I had already talked to other moms and heard about, you know, them saying the baby heart rate is slowing down, and they, you know, want to make sure the baby's okay, so they want to have emergency C-section. And that seems to be like the talk of the town of how a lot of moms are having to have these C-sections. But you're on all type of drugs. I'm pretty sure that the baby's heart rate is going up and down. Like, so they had me get in these different positions. But we had a pretty good nurse. Like, the nurse that was in there the whole time, she was like, I'm pretty sure you're 9 centimeters. Like, you're almost ready to start delivery. But the other nurses were coming in and saying that I was 7. And the other nurse, she was just like, no, you're 9. And I really want the doctor to come in and check herself. So sure enough, the doctor come in. She asked me how I'm feeling. And I looked at her and I said, I'm feeling fine, but I'm not trying to have a C-section. And let me tell you why. Because my mom was trying to be funny, talking about, oh, you didn't want to mess up that body. No, it's the fact that I know what mothers go through when they have C-sections. And that healing process is different. It's different. So she goes, well, you're really going to have to push. And if, you know, something happens, we're going to have to go into a C-section. Then bam. Next thing I know, the lights are on. They're telling me to hold my knees up to my chest. Baby, my first baby, barely had enough time to get we couldn't even record because it happened so fast. They told me to push because I refused. So I was pushing, and let's talk about the pushing. it is true. When you have the epidural, you cannot feel anything. And that's another way, you know, C-sections end up happening because you never pushed before. So you don't know how to engage those muscles once they're numb as well. So you never pushed before if you're a first time mom. And you're numb from the waist down. So I had to really lock in, first of all, spiritually. And then I had to find those muscles, like find those butt muscles, because they say push like you gotta go to the restroom, like you gotta poop. So I had to really focus. I had to really focus and find those muscles, and that's hard to do. And I can't imagine like every mom being able to do that, because you're numb, like you don't feel anything. But I found it and I did not let go. Like even when they didn't tell me to push, I was still engaging that muscle and kind of breathing and like pushing through it. They only wanted me to push through the contractions, but because I knew it was a situation or we were gonna go into the C-section, I was kind of pushing on the low key when I wasn't supposed to. So all I can hear is my baby in one ear, my mom, and then the other nurse that kind of had our back the whole time. And she was like, girl, they were just telling me to push, that you're not gonna have this C-section. And that's what I needed, that energy. And so I was pushing, and sure enough, I pushed her out. And oh no, they also had like a little suction, a vacuum suction on her head to also kind of help get her out. And that had popped off. And when it popped off, the lady, I could hear her, the doctor, she called and was like, get the room ready for the C-section. And I guess I heard that. I heard that and I locked in again.
Baby was like, oh no.
Yeah, I was like, we not doing this, because y'all not gonna be, you know, with me through this healing process that you're trying to push your C-section. I barely been here for, you know, I mean, I've been there for hours, but the real laboring part, I barely been here and y'all already trying to give me a C-section. No. So I pushed, and on the fourth, they wanted me to have a C-section, right? But the fourth push, got my baby out of there.
Like a soldier.
Like a soldier. Like a G. Like a G. I got my baby out and I cried. I did. I didn't think I would cry. But I cried because of just the whole process.
I knew she was going to cry.
Whatever. He didn't cry.
I was a little thug, you know?
Yeah, whatever. I pushed my baby out. I fought for myself. So that's what I really want. If it's one message I want you to leave with, is like, fight for yourself. Like I say, yes, there's times when you may need a C-section. That's perfectly fine. But if you know, you feel it, you know, like you know. And I knew. And so I was just going for it. I was like, I'm not trying to have it. I'm just not. And I didn't. And my baby came out healthy.
Beautiful.
Yes. It was great. A great experience. It was worth it, like they always say. And yes, I would have the epidural again. There's things that go on that mothers don't really talk about. At least what I experienced in the hospital, I didn't really. The emotional side of it and other things that, you know, happen. You trying to breastfeed your baby. But I'm gonna make a separate video for that for sure. This is my first video. Oh, like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram. I need to change my Instagram name, but right now it's M Lavalus. Oh, that's whack. You gotta change that.
That's your name, isn't it?
Yeah, it is my name. It's my name. Okay. Peace out, guys.